Call meeting order, roll call.
Graig.
Here.
Maggie.
Here.
Rosemary is excused. Ann.
Present.
And Max.
Okay, can I get you to please join me to the salute for a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Thank you. Mr. White, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Mission statement, to anticipate and provide services to meet the healthcare needs of the people we serve. Welcome. Consent agenda. We have on the consent agenda the regular meeting of May 30th, Finance Committee meeting of June 5th, and the special board meeting of June 13th. Does anything pulled from the consent agenda, or can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
Okay, now. Can Ann second that?
She may.
Okay.
I second.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay.
And that's just with abstaining with the regular meeting.
Yeah. Sophie, she wasn't here, but she wants, okay. Public members of the public are welcome to participate in the meetings of the board. Comments of the public will be accepted during public comment portion of the agenda. No action or comments will be taken by the board or on matters not on the agenda. Public comments on agenda items should be made at the time each item is considered. When the board president recognizes a member of the public for oral comment, such comments shall be 3 minutes or less at the discretion of the board president. We'd like a calm presentation so that the importance of what you're presenting is not overshadowed by the manner of the presentation. Any public comment?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. No, that's all right.
I apologize.
You're fine. Just real simply, Wes White, I do a YouTube channel, John Doe 13K. That clock is 5 minutes fast, and it's only like 4:01 right now. So that's why I was like hustling, so it'd be good to start promptly, and then as I've been asking for like a year, if you can do Zoom, that way, you get more public participation, interaction, and hopefully, nothing but positive feedback.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll have to.
Just right up for
Yeah.
You start.
Okay, let's see. Communications coordinator, Adriana.
Wes, if I can ask you to maybe refrain from moving around the room and maybe stay over in this vicinity?
Without a microphone, without amplified noise, it's harder. That's why the camera's hard to hear you.
So maybe today, but maybe in the future, because I did get some complaints. So if you can just stay back in that vicinity, would be great. Thank you, Wes.
I do try to stay still.
Yeah, because I'm just following up on what I got.
Right.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Wes. Thank you for your flexibility.
Hello, everybody. So we are going to start my report with big news. We are finally reopening the soda shop. That will please mark your calendars for July 26th. And if you haven't been to the soda shop yet, I encourage you to do so because we revamped the windows, and you will be able to see a very great design that was performed by one of our local vendors, or Selena's vendors, Central Coast Sign and Design, and they were able to get Ida's vision to life in the windows. So you'll be able to see that provides privacy for whoever is inside the soda shop, and also for the residents and everything, because sometimes the residents get tempted to walk in there, and we have to then check their meal plans, and it's a whole thing. So please mark your calendars for July 26th. We also celebrated this month, we celebrated CNA week, and we have been doing that for skilled nursing home week, and also nurses week as well. So the district administrative staff arranged goodie bags for appreciation. So each CNA got a goodie bag, and then they got food. We're so lucky that we always get showered with food here by our community members, our residents' families and all of that. So they are making sure that we are being celebrated on every special week. The admin staff also celebrated Father's Day with another little goodie bag that you can see in your packets, the ones with the pictures. You can see Jay, our physical therapy guy, showcasing one of them. And so that was also from the administrative staff. And we are also celebrating that we got our brand new recap team that joined us. So you will be seeing that hopefully in the papers. I am planning on sending a press release for that to make sure that the whole community knows that our rehab team is revamped and that we offer trauma care as well. So they're specialized in trauma. And we also have 2 volunteers this month that started volunteering with us. One of them is Elizabeth, who is an incoming high school senior at Soledad High School, and she is planning to be a nurse practitioner. So she wants to come into the facility, so we put her with everything. She wants to come into the facility and make sure that she is aligned with her career of choice, and we're providing her with professional development as well. And we also have Isalia, who is a recent graduate of Cardinal College, the Business Office Technology program, and she is volunteering in the office setting, just seeking for experience and professional development as well. We also celebrated, as you saw in your packet, Ray Saget's 15-year anniversary, and we sent that over to the press. We're hoping that eventually they'll print something, but if not, you all got it. We did a celebration, and it was actually in this room that the Eden Valley stand-up meeting, they were able to all gather together and celebrate him. We presented him with a certificate, a tumbler, a pin, and also a nice little voucher for PTO. And then also we celebrated Alice's and Lisa's, their 2 residents here, birthdays, who are roommates. So Alice's family brought both of them a cake, and they were able to celebrate their birthday together. They invited all staff and residents for ice cream and cake. And then also, I was able to take pictures of all of the medical assistants at the clinic. So we are getting closer to having most of the staff have better pictures to put up in the facility and make sure that we have a friendlier facility setting. Is there any questions? Oh.
I'm kind of a newbie to social media, but I've been following on Instagram. And, I don't know if it's possible, but, I know that there's Eden Valley has an Instagram, Soledad Medical Group, and then the general campus, so to speak. I think it would be advantageous, especially with the clinic, if you could, I don't want to use the term advertise, but showcase some of the things that we offer, such as sports physicals, office hours, prenatal care, child care. Try to encourage, so that what people know what the clinic offers.
Yeah, sure.
I think that would be, I think it's nice that you put out Happy Mother's Day. I think it's nice you put out Happy Father's Day. But I think we need to focus on what we offer.
Okay.
I like the fact that you're kind of showcasing the rehab for the trauma, and here at Eden Valley with the physical therapy, because that's a real positive thing. And I think it's nice that you're promoting that. But I also think we need to see some promotion at the clinic.
Certainly.
And you'll know what to.
Yeah.
Even just put the hours out there, just to remind people.
I will, certainly. Thank you for bringing that up.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much, very good job. Okay, treasurer's report, sir.
Okay, starting on page 15 of your packet. Right, this is as of May 31st. This is 11 out of the 12 months. So we're getting close to year end. Our total assets are $11,207,120. $3.5 million is in cash and almost $2 million in receivables. So of your 11 million, what is that? 5.5 million is liquid, so which is good. Once again, your main liabilities down below, you have 9.5 million in debt. 3.7 of that is your third-party payments, which represents 3 years. Well, it's 2 plus 3/4 of this year. Okay, so and then you have your long-term debt. You have your $3 million loan, and you have your $1.1 million loan. That's included in the long-term debt. Bottom line for the month, and we'll get to the next page, but $80-some-odd thousand profit for the month of May. Bottom line here, number of days of cash on hand, we're almost to triple digits, getting close. Okay, 96, so we're just a little over three months at this point, so which is good. On page 16, our profit for the 11-month period is $685,000 compared with $192,000 loss in the prior year, and that's with writing off $1,125,000 for our PPS. Last year we hadn't written off any at this point.
You know, I just thought of something, and looking on page 15, you know, and you have the under liabilities, you know, we're talking about the year 23 and 24. In our third-party settlements, we got 3.7 million. Wouldn't we be even in better shape? Because that's for 3 years. So if we had just put what our third-party settlements were for 1 year, you know, for the current year, so to speak, because that's going against us for the year. You know, can you follow where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I mean, the financials would look better, but they wouldn't be accurate.
Yeah.
But it's not all doable, and it's not all doable, but it's not all payable in this year. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean, we could move part of it into a long-term debt, but
It's like you said, it wouldn't
but
be accurate.
it's basically due when they call it.
Oh,
Yeah.
true.
And so when, you know, if the state, they, you know, could come and say, no, we want it now. So,
But it really is.
Yeah, really
But,
huge.
but your thought process is correct.
Yeah.
Because if you just looked at the particular one, the debt wouldn't be as high.
Right.
We just want to showcase the debt in a whole, but
Yeah.
the amount that's due within 12 months is about $1.2 million.
And we paid some of that already on page 16, huh?
No, we haven't paid any of this 3.7 million.
Oh.
That's still due and payable.
Oh, okay.
But the third year back is about $1.2 million. The second year back is about $1.5 million, and this year we have accrued $1.1 million.
can you want to talk about PPS on this?
Sure, if you want to talk about it now, that's fine.
So, so PPS, as you guys know, there's a document that needs to be submitted, and it is Form 3100, which would, in essence, that's the factor that is taken into consideration with the overpayment. So the form has been submitted, and the rate will be reduced. It will take some time, though. So I did reach out to the auditor, and if we use 2023 figures, for example, the overpayment will go down from about $500,000 to $400,000. But we still keep it in mind in 2024 that the managed care payments did increase significantly. So they almost doubled. So our Medi-Cal change care fee for the service will increase. So our overpayment will still be expected to be a large liability. But we did submit the form, which is going to take us roughly from a fee and a rate of $130.64 down to a fee and a rate of $78.68. So what the plan is, so we've submitted it for 23. The plan is to resubmit it for 24. So there'll be another form filed, 3100 in 2024 to reduce that amount as well. So just know that it's happening and that is occurring. The goal, and everyone knows, is to get to no overpayment balances. So it's in motion is what I wanted to share.
You did that rather than the auditor?
So we attempted to send it off initially, but they then came back and said that they needed their cost reporting. And then once the cost reporting, then we submitted that form. So it has to happen together.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay, so moving on then, right, so we're at 685. You look down towards the bottom, summary of income by operation. This is in like the 6, 7, 8 line up from the bottom. Eden Valley is a $2 million profit for the 11 months. Clinic and Women's Health Center with the $1 million write-off for the PPS is 681,000 loss, and then the district is 716. And those are primarily just general and administrative expenses. Okay. Page 17, you can see where our cash is. Ida has been really good about stashing 125,000 here and there. We're putting that money in the First Capital Bank so that, you know, when these PPS payments become due, that we have the money sitting in the account and we don't have to go out and borrow. So that's where the majority of the money is sitting right now. $2 million is in that First Capital account. Our accounts receivable, Eden Valley, it was a really good month in collections, but it was also a good month in billing. And so the receivable balance actually went up from the prior in comparison to the last year. The clinic, you know, we've been collecting on that, and so those receivables, and we have a much higher allowance. I mean, it's really probably about a $900,000 receivable balance, but we say, you know, we're not counting on 500,000 of that because of the contractual adjustments, and so we only book the net amount there. Summary of income by month, you can see the month of May, it was 82,147. We did have a dip in census a little bit in May, but still profit. I mean, I'm looking at this year, and other than the month of December, we've had a profit in every single month. And December is only a $3,848 loss, so not
Versus
bad.
6 months of negatives last year.
Yeah, 6 months of panic last year, okay? And this is where you can see that 1,125,000 estimated PPS. I will be making in the month of June another 375,000 estimate to bring that up to 1.5 million. Based on what I've been reading, you know, it may be higher this year, but we have the profit to sustain that this year. I'm not real concerned.
Do you know, are there any other clinics that did that? Have you heard of the, you know, any other facilities that got into those PPS, you know, prepayments, you know? Have you?
Not on the top of my head, no. No. Okay. Page 18 gives you the income and expenses of Eden Valley. Once again, the top part is by department. So you can see how the departments are doing in comparison to the prior year. And then down below is by type of expenditure. So our revenues are up almost 2.5 million, 2.4 million. So to see expenditures increase in salaries and professional fees and supplies, you know, that would follow the increased bed count and those type of things. The main increase there you'll see is professional fees, and once again, just to remind you, that's almost all nursing. Okay, and I did include on a later page a summary of our professional fees so you can see those professional fees. On page 19 is the clinic. And And you can see here that our revenues are down. And just like I said in Eden Valley, because our revenues are up, we had more salaries. You can see on the clinic here that our revenues are down from the prior year, and because of that, our salaries are also down. So are our professional fees, so are our supplies. So we are doing well there as far as our budget is concerned.
So I will add, so we've had a couple of things happening, especially in this month, going on. One of them is we do have a provider who's out on leave. We do have providers who are on vacation.
We're talking the month of June, or May.
Both, so it's been going on for a bit. More particular in the month of June. And we have several providers on vacation, and coupled with that, we are going to hire a 6-week provider to fill the gap. Otherwise, what happens is you have all these providers and you have all these staff, but you don't have anyone to support, to support. So,
To meet with the patients.
to be with patients, because there's no, so this is the way that we found. As you guys know, that is an expensive price to pay, but it's either that or not service our patients. And we don't want to not service our patients. So we feel that the 6-week gap that we have, not in service because, providers are on leave and providers on vacation, will be filled by this person. And then they'll help us at least for the next 6 weeks. And then hopefully everybody's back in their seats and then we go on as usual.
Do you go through an agency, or are you gonna go through Natividad, or?
Oh, no, you have to go through an agency. Yeah, and we found somebody, we've interviewed, and we're just now going through all the standard procedures. So that way our patients can be covered during this time.
Full-time position?
It is, it's full-time and it's for 6 weeks.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so just a little FYI, so if you do see an increase in professional fees, you're gonna know that's where it's coming from.
All right, then down at the bottom is just the profit and loss for the month of May. So you can see Eden Valley had a $122,000 profit, clinic had a $107,000 profit, we had district-wide expenditures of $105, and then depreciation of $41. So, and then you can see the profit for each of the entities for the entire year. Okay.
Good, huh?
On page 20 that's your summary of professional services. I don't normally provide this on a regular basis. It's not that hard. It didn't take me too long to put this together, but so there's all your professional fees for all 3 entities, the Eden Valley, the clinic, as well as the district,
For the year?
for the 11-month period. Okay. You'll notice that nursing, we had 2 different entities. We had Medley, and then we also have Medical Solutions. Okay, so you'd have to add those together to have the total nursing for Eden Valley. Okay.
And we did get a payment for, and I can't find it, our taxes for June.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got that. Sophie sent that to me this
Yeah,
morning.
today.
Yeah.
So
So it was
we
about-
made our portion of our taxes. What
Yeah,
was-
the June payment.
I don't remember, I'm trying to remember the
I think it was
amount.
like 20,000.
Okay,
Yeah,
So-
it seems about normal for what.
no, for the time.
Okay. All right, so that is the,
One more question.
yes,
Under legal expense for
Uh-huh.
84,000, is that because of,
It's all of our legal expenses, and so the cases,
is that right? Did I read that right?
you did.
Is that because of, that couple of those lawsuits and stuff?
All those legal cases. We do have we did receive PRA requests. Those are the public records requests, and actually received 3 of them this month, which is taking staff time. And it takes up,
Does that come under legal?
it does, because you have to have those reviewed upon.
Oh, I see. Any of that legal expense covered by the insurance? No.
some, Pam, but the portion you do reflect here is the part that we are responsible for. So yeah, that is our portion that we are responsible for taking care of. So, while we're on
And
this
the
topic,
audit now is costing us close to $30,000
the which,
audit.
correct.
Yeah.
And that's kind of pretty standard, you know, in the prices, especially the number of businesses that we have. That's pretty standard.
It's gone up.
Yeah.
It's gone up a lot.
Okay, any other questions before we move on?
Well, let's the treasury report can go into the budget, right?
Yeah, I'm just asking if there are questions
Any
regarding the
questions?
treasurer's report.
Okay, motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Emmy's motion, do I have a second?
No second.
A second. All those in favor, we'll do a roll call vote, I'm sorry, Sophie.
Greg,
Yes?
Maggie,
Yes.
Ann, yes, and Matt.
Yes. Okay, monthly budget review.
Okay, so pages 21 through 24 are your budget to actual summary for the 11-month period. So you can kind of see our Eden Valley actual year-to-date in the middle column, and then clinic to the right, and then district to the far right. These are your year-to-dates. And thank goodness, the total column in the second column over matches what we just discussed. I always like to make sure that matches, and so, and then the budget column, the first column represents 11/12 of our annual budget. Okay, so we budgeted at this point to have a surplus of 91,000, and we are at 685,000. And the majority of that is due to, you know, the increased bed count at Eden Valley. Okay? The next pages give you a summary of each individual, so you can see Eden Valley, we budgeted, the far left column is the annual budget for Eden Valley. The second column is the 11 months for Eden Valley budget, and then the third column is the year-to-date. And so the far right column is what, if I was a board member, I would be looking at this far right column to say, okay, how are we doing in comparison to the budget for Eden Valley? Are we over, under? So you can see that as far as revenues, we have a positive variance of $1,083,000. So we have $1 million more revenues than what we budgeted. Okay, and then you can see the expenditures where you have 823 negative, meaning we've spent more. But once again, those expenditures are all typically in professional fees and supplies, you know, supplies being food, medicines, those type of things for the increased bed count. Okay? But overall, we're still 260,000 to the positive. And then we allocate a portion of the district-wide expenditures and our depreciation, we come up with a net margin of 264. And then we look at our grants and contributions. Okay, we haven't had any grants or contributions to Eden Valley this year as of May 31st. So we're 250,000 to the good for Eden Valley. On the clinic, we're actually, even though we are in a deficit position for the 11 months because of the PPS write-offs, we're still, in comparison to our budget, we're still better off. We're still 197,000 to the positive. Okay? And then our district, we're 145,000 to the positive. So that's how we get to the net total positive. Okay?
Okay,
Any
any questions?
I have
Go ahead.
Because there's such a big variance between the budget and the actual, and in some of these departments, would it be, should we make changes to the budget so that it's more in line with what the actual is? You know, I mean, you know, I remember doing that on the school board.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different schools of thought. I know school boards, having served on a school board myself,
Yeah,
you know, they modify their budget almost on a monthly basis.
Exactly.
So that they look like they're budgeting exactly what they expect.
Exactly, yeah.
My personal feeling is, you know, we stick to our budget, and if there's a major change, we modify it. You know, like something happens that we didn't anticipate at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But how do you compare with what you think should happen versus what could happen if you keep modifying it all throughout the year?
Yeah.
So I believe, you know, by doing this, we can, at year end, we can say, okay, we missed the, for example, on the district on page 24, you know, we could look at salaries and go, okay, we're 193,000 more in salaries
Yeah.
for district-wide expenditures. So perhaps maybe in our original budget, we included 15 of the district-wide personnel, but in the HR department, now we have 17 because we just forgot to when we did the original budget. And they're over in Eden Valley, and so maybe those Eden Valley expenditures, if you go back to Eden Valley, their expenditures are to the positive at 348,000. You know, so
Right,
what
right,
probably
and
happened
that's-
is,
yeah.
we had a couple of employees that we thought were Eden Valley that the HR department has moved to district-wide, and so, you know, we look at that, and then, so for the current year budget, we take that into consideration and say, okay, let's make sure that we have that corrected for this
So then
next
just
fiscal
use
year.
these figures, leave it as, and then go forward and.
That's
Just
my,
for the next year.
that's my personal feeling.
Consideration for the next one,
Yeah.
Yeah, but anything major, so for example, if, you know, if we decide, you know, that, you know, we're gonna put some beds outside and we're gonna house people there, you know, and we're gonna increase our bed count by 20, you know, then maybe we amend this,
I think, I see.
okay?
The budget's not a law, it's a plan.
Yeah,
And as long as you overall
realize
come
that.
back with more in the end, you're gonna have some ups and downs, so that's cool.
Well, then that's, but, you know, I remember on the school board,
Yeah.
they tried to keep the budget
You know
and
what I'm
the
thinking,
actual.
as you're saying that, because the schools have these buckets of money that's given for designated reasons,
Yeah.
and so they have to show that they're using it,
Ah,
or they lose it sometimes.
yeah. And then it's just a matter of switching the money from one column to another, you know, and
That's
and I didn't know, okay.
Okay, any more questions?
That's it, no.
so that is the current year budget report, budget to actual for the period ending May 31st.
Thank
Okay,
you.
take a motion to approve the budget review.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, and made a motion to approve the budget, do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, well, motion and a second, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Graig,
Yes,
Maggie, yes, Ann,
Yes.
and Max.
Yes.
okay. Proposed budget review.
Okay, so the next item, starting on page 26, is our proposed budget for the 24-25, in which we have looked at all the variances from the prior year and said, okay, you know, what did we miss? What can we do? And then also looking at our current operations and what we expect. Last month, and I'm sorry I couldn't be here, but last month we presented a preliminary draft, and I believe that draft showed $1.3 million as a deficit. So, you know, we sharpened our pencils and looked at a few things, and we are now, bottom line, just to give you an overview, bottom line, if you look at that first column, bottom line, we have a net deficit of 50,000, okay? Now, why didn't we just sharpen a little bit more and get that to zero? If you look about 5 lines up, you'll see improvements in equipment prior year. So those are the improvements that we had planned to do in the 23-24 fiscal year that we're just not going to get done. And so we carried that portion of the budget over for this year. So if you take that 100,000 out for the 24-25 year, we're actually looking at a surplus budget of $50,850. Okay, we're going to use that surplus to cover part of the expenses, and then we'll use some of our surplus carryover to use up this other 50,000 as well.
And you've got that PPA, that money in there somehow?
Yes, yep. We got another $1.5 million. And, you know, based on what Ida has shared with us regarding the PPS, if the auditors come back and say, no, because of the increase in rates, you know, your PPS settlement, you know, for 23-24 instead of 1.5, which we've estimated, is 1.8, we can come back and modify the budget to reflect that so that we know what we're shooting for in the current year. Because if we have another 300,000 that we've got to cut, we're going to have to
By the way.
I don't know how much more pencil we have to sharpen, but.
Very nicely done, all this work.
The worst question is, this year proposal, this is the final budget for the year? Or we're still in the proposed stages because we're still refining?
As of today, unless we get direction from the board, this is what we're presenting to you to adopt as our budget for the 24-25 fiscal year.
So before we adopt the budget, I brought this up before, and I even got the email from Noel when I was referring to the government code and the requirements of posting out to the public that we're having our budget meeting, putting it in the paper so they can come and ask questions. And Noel responded to me, no, we follow the health and safety code, and the health and safety code specifically says that using good accounting and budgeting procedures for special districts, so it has some guidelines, but it tells you have to use the government code, and the government code says that by July 1st, you need to put out and tell the people when you're going to have that budget meeting, when you're going to review that, or where the budget's posted to be reviewed. I don't think we've done that. I brought that up before.
Yeah, so
We can't approve the budget today.
per her advice, we can, and that's what we did last year. And this is in accordance with our practice, so we are going outside of our practice. So and thank you for bringing that up, Max. And so she did her research and her homework, and she says that yes, we can move forward with accepting what's proposed, and we can move forward because that practice that we're following is the practice that we have followed. And she did look into it, and she did confirm that we are in good practice to move forward with the budget.
I believe we can put a proposed budget out, and this is what our plan is, but I don't believe that we can approve the budget without putting it out to the public and making an announcement and posting it so people can see it. And we've never done that.
So, and you're right, we haven't posted it and we haven't done that. However, we do have a finance committee, which is a public meeting, which we did also.
But we didn't post that, and we didn't post that so everybody can come and see that. The only ones that really knew about that was us. And we put a 24-hour notice that we are having our finance meeting.
It's posted on our
website.
And it's all in the.
The law says you gotta put it in the paper, you gotta tell the public with 2 weeks' notice that you're having a meeting to review this. So that's just my opinion.
So,
The legal opinion is that we're applying.
Well, the legal opinion advises us, we have to make a decision. My input is that we haven't followed the law.
Okay. Understood what your point is. Thank you. Okay. So, first off, do we have any questions on the proposed budget?
So I don't know if you've taken the time to review it. I can kind of give you some highlights. But, you know, for example, we're using a bed count of 48. Last year on our budget, we used a bed count of 46, I believe. This year, we're averaging a bed count of 51. So it's still conservative based on current year. This is for Eden Valley as far as the revenues. You know, there's some of the major professional fees are outlined in your budget, you know, to make sure that you understand what our anticipation for professional fees are. I mean, I can go through any of this. I brought all the detail if you want to see detail or have explanations, but it's basically what we worked on in the finance committee, and then this is the final product. And
It's broken down like in categories here, I see that,
yeah, we try to give you a little bit, you know, a lot more information, so you, yeah.
Going back to what Max says, would it hurt to put it in the paper and do that, or?
It's already public, Anne, and it's public today. It's in our website. It's been public since our last meeting, so, and we have had public opportunity.
Well, then it's posted,
And it's
the
posted.
agenda, and it's on the agenda?
Yeah.
Is that on
It's on the agenda. So this is a plan that we take to utilize for to set our budgets internally, so that way the departments can start adhering to those numbers.
You can. If we approve a proposed budget today, which we can do, you can start using those numbers, and then you put your final budget out after you've made that notice and allowed the public to come ask questions.
Okay, that's fine.
That's what I'm proposing.
Got it.
I had something to say just in general about, first of all, I want to thank Ida and Brent and Charisma for the work they've done on the next fiscal year's budget. I believe they are able to answer all my questions as well as all of Max's questions. Additionally, I want to thank all the department heads who worked so hard to cut costs this past fiscal year and who helped to balance this year's budget. One question that came up during the meeting was whether or not the district, in part or whole, paid for Ida's doctorate. Emphatically, the district did not. Ida's personal character precluded that, but the suggestion was an attack on her character. Yes, last year we incurred significant legal expenses caused by folks that probably didn't even know we existed 2 years ago. The Monterey Weekly ran a disparaging article that questioned the management of this district. The no confidence vote questioned the management of the district, and the attempted recall also questioned the management of this district. And most recently, an anonymous person asked the grand jury to investigate this district. Nothing came of that. Not one of those attacks bore fruit. Yet all these attacks cost the district significant time and money. And that took away from the district's ability to pay down PPS debt and to expand the services we can provide to our residents and patients. These are hard times for rural health hospitals and clinics, with many forced to close because of financial problems. This district has provided excellent medical care 70 years. And if it has continued to do so for another 70 years, it can ill afford the legal costs, these costly investigations that caused the retreat in general turn up nothing. And that's all I have to say on that. I'm just frustrated with this. Okay, so the question now is before, do you want to approve the budget or, someone put forward a motion, what you want to do?
I move we accept the proposed budget.
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve, accept. I want to make sure I get your right word,
To
Max.
accept the proposed budget.
Okay, to accept the proposed budget, and I have a second. Okay, roll call.
Graig,
Yes,
Maggie. Yes. Ann,
Yes.
and Max.
okay. Thank you very much on that. District CEO's report.
Election, number 12.
Oh, I'm sorry. Resolution, I'm sorry. It's Resolution 2024-04 calling for the 2024 general election of the Soledad Community Health District's consolidation of election with state and general election. Publication of notice by the election by the Secretary adopted June 27, 2024. And there's an election document and the board review will take action. So next page is...
I move we accept the resolution to carry out the election.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Please, roll call vote.
Graig,
Yes.
Maggie. Yes. Ann,
Yes.
and Max.
Yes.
Thank you, Brent.
All right, with your permission.
Thank you, Brent.
Okay.
Great job, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, CEO's report.
All right, good afternoon, evening, everyone. It's officially the start of the summer, and I hope everyone is enjoying this summer weather. This month, we have held our staff strategic plan meeting, hence the picture at the front of your packet. That was one of the pictures that we took of our meeting. It inspires me for our future to be working with such talented people. The leadership strategic meeting was facilitated by Michelle Slade, who also facilitated ours. So you guys will see the final product now come out as a result of it. Who attended? The clinic manager, the director of nursing, the administrator, accounts payable, maintenance manager, director of staff development, HR administrator, executive assistant, marketing coordinator, and payroll manager. What else? Adriana's already shared with you guys. The therapy team. Effective July 1st, we are fully equipped with an advanced therapeutic team experience in working with trauma recovery and mobility. This is an amazing opportunity for our district. This team is actually coming from Natividad, one of them having worked there for over 15 years. They are so proud to be here. We are poised at becoming the leading destination for those seeking specialized recovery and rehabilitation services in our district and beyond. So what service we can provide to our district is going to be amazing through this team. We will have a meet and greet once the team is settled in. Adriana will do some, obviously some social media and so forth, and letting the public know that they're here.
It's for both in-house, Eden Valley, and the general public, or is it just for?
We don't have outpatient services at this
Oh, we
moment.
don't have.
Yeah, so it's just for your Eden Valley specifically.
What is the name of the team?
It's just our therapy team.
Oh, okay.
I'm just telling you guys that for me, it's the advanced therapeutic team, just because they provide not only, so this is how I try to describe it. So your normal therapy team provides the normal therapeutic services. Because they've worked in a trauma environment, and Natividad Center is a trauma center, they specialize in a very high acute.
How'd you find them? How'd you get them?
They worked here part-time, or they worked here and, yeah.
And that will have the stability of physical therapy.
Correct, which we
And
haven't had.
are they affiliated at all with that Sam Karras unit up there? Sam Karras rehab unit at Natividad?
That's where they came from. They came from the acute center.
They did.
They did.
Wow.
So we're very fortunate. We attracted a very good team, and I'm looking forward to the partnership and having the stabilization of the therapy team, and what greatness it'll bring to our community and our residents. On Monday, June 24th, this week, Graig and I attended the LAFCO meeting where it was passed for the Soledad Community Healthcare District to the proposed approximate 2,100 square foot mile in square mile sphere of influence. Take a moment, you guys. This was something you guys as a board had been trying to achieve for many years to come. I even think Jack wanted to achieve a growth in her sphere of influence.
Yeah, and so this has been something that Ida's been working on formally. When I see somebody, I complain to commissioners about what had happened. And so it went through without a hitch. Everyone said the care that's provided here through the clinic, the Women's Center, and the Eden Valley is great. There's no reason we shouldn't approve the expansion of the sphere. So it was there was no objection from no one. No one even raised, they spent the time talking about the cemetery district.
And that has to say, because I had the great support of my team, we all put in a lot of work, a lot of hours in helping draft this. And I do have a copy if somebody wants one. The final product isn't out, or I can send a link, but if you guys want this one, I have you want.
Please look at it. So what is this severe increase?
Okay, so this is what you guys will get.
It
It's
goes
right
up to
here.
Gonzales and goes down to the county line.
Yeah, it's in their max, but I printed out a copy, and let me see if I can quickly find it for you guys.
Next, we'll be getting the tax revenue.
Well, that's if we won't get it because we'd have to annex.
That's a whole separate, yeah, that's not a,
The point of doing it is we're now on equal footing with SAH.
If I can look at this, that's what
you may have that.
what I'm saying is that I can look that up and look fine. I just was curious.
Here's the actual picture.
Of the amount?
Yep,
Because it used to be just the
Here you
city
go, Maggie.
boundaries, right?
No, it was,
so it gives you,
It
if
used
you
to be
take a look.
effectively the city boundaries.
no, it would go to the
Okay, so if you
prison.
look at the picture, here, the district boundary
Yeah.
part of me
There's where
is
we were,
green,
now
and then the
this is
sphere
what
of
we are.
influence that was proposed, that's who we are now.
That's great.
That's quite an expansion. Huge expansion.
I think of the opportunities of how much more we can do to help our community, help South County.
And just so you know, we have historically provided services beyond our boundaries.
What did me think of it?
They're not a
They're
district,
not a district, so they wouldn't have
Oh, they
any,
wouldn't care.
no.
so
And Salinas Valley team was advised and discussed, and they also had no,
Very good.
No
Yeah.
interest?
well, they didn't have no, rebuttals to the regard. They supported this. So just, thank Greg for all of his support and all of his help, and, my team, Adriana and so forth, and Sophie, everybody who participated in, getting everything drafted and looking pretty and nice. And that picture, we put that picture in, and so a lot of little details went. So they approved the sphere of influence amendment. And they also encouraged and explored the district to explore the possibility of establishing its own development impact fees and to coordinate with the city of Soledad on the possibility of healthcare district participation in city-led development agreements or any future citywide revenue enhancements measures to partly offset the impact of future city growth on the district's facility and services.
And just for board information, we were purchasing ambulances back in about 1947, up to about 1994. Those ambulances were a volunteer ambulance company. We covered halfway between Salinas and Gonzales because A1 came out of Salinas and Grimm's Mortuary came out of King City. So we went split the area between us and Greenfield. So that's it, and I'm sure we spent money buying the Jaws of Life, so it would have been the first Jaws of Life down in this neck of the woods. That doesn't, and that historic, that goes from say 47 to 1994 when they passed the not service area, the district for so that they have money to pay for AMR. Then that doesn't count all the things that Ida and her team did during COVID, which we.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were well beyond our district. Another, Salinas Valley did not come down to Gonzales. We were down in King City, so we have a history of going and providing service, a long history of providing. Our ambulances went up into way up into the gorge, and that's well out of our district. So we have a long history of providing service well beyond our boundaries, and that's just so you have a history lesson. I'm sorry.
No, that's good information. That's some good background. Leadership Academy. So on June 16th, we had our 6th session of Professional and Leadership Development Academy. This session focused on giving and receiving feedback. Again, this is offered to 12 key managers from the clinic, Una Valley, and Women's Center. It's a 2-hour training session occurring once a month. There's 2 more training sessions that remain. Next month, they'll be discussing managing conflict. I do want to read from you the facilitator who does the facilitating. Her name is Maria Lopez. She said, Hi Ida, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation for the opportunity to lead the professional and leadership development sessions for your team. I hold great respect for you and your staff. You innate leadership coupled with empathy showcase your commitment to enhancing our community. Your endeavors, along with your team's collaborative work, are truly leaving a lasting impression on me. And that's from our facilitator. What's next? United Healthcare. So I did share with you guys that United Healthcare insurance has gone up by 50%. This is the insurance that we provide to our staff. So we have now put out the renewals, and it's going to be a sticker shock. So I just want to prepare you guys for in case anyone does approach you. We have done one-on-ones, but if there's anyone that does, please have them seek us out in HR because they're the ones that can support. So I'll give you a prime example. For an employee sponsored only, the employee paid an estimate of $92.32. We paid an estimate of $685 in 2023. This year with the increase, that same employee will pay $130. We will pay $949
Per month. So what's that percentage that they pay? We pay, what's that, at 10%, 20%?
Out of the total.
Yeah.
So we pay more than that now. So we pay $949.
So they pay,
We pay 88%.
we pay 88% and then they pay 12%.
The difference.
Uh-huh, okay.
And what's the benefit?
It's the
What-
health insurance.
I know what it is, but what's, and then, they have co-pays or no co-pays or deductibles, big picture.
Yeah,
I know it's probably
so
many
I don't
categories.
have it in front of me, but yeah, we do still have our HSA associated with that. We still, so nothing changed. We have our dental and our vision. Those went up slightly. What the overall is the overall cost. I can tell you that I'm still working with other agencies to find something better.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. So we had no choice. We have to roll it in because we don't want to go uninsured.
Right.
But I have conversations that I'm having separately with trying to find something better.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a hard pill to swallow financially, and I think that's one of the reasons for our budget, needing to sharpen our pencil. And secondly, on behalf of the employee, it's also difficult. So my goal was always to have something, if you remember when I first got here, it was free. But as the healthcare costs have gone up, it's tougher and tougher
Yeah,
each year.
that's where you have to pass it. So how much did it go up in 1 year, the insurance percentage?
50%.
50%? Wow. Wow.
And that's what we budgeted into the numbers.
Well, see if there's any other providers out there.
I
for
am, I'm
insurance.
working on that, but I just want to let you guys know, for in case you are approached or anyone, send them our way, because otherwise, that's the only way we know to help them. But the team has been managing and having one-on-ones with them. Okay, what else? Soledad Police Department requested a letter of support. More specifically, Fred Lombardi reached out to us, who's the Deputy Chief of Police of Soledad, City of Soledad, asked for a letter of support because they were applying to join the Active Bystander of Law Enforcement Project, ABLE for short, to prepare officers to successfully intervene to prevent harm and to create a law enforcement culture and support peer interventions. So you guys do see that in your packet. I did provide you a copy of that letter, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of background in where that came and how that got to us. Any questions so far? Okay, moving on. Finance, we've already spoke about this, but we did get our property tax payment for the month of June. Previous to that, I reported we got the one for April. So for April, it was $193,72.76. And for the month of June, it's $20,541.62. Okay.
192,000 the first time and 20,000 the second time, is that what you said?
$193,72.76. And in June, $20,541.62. All right. SB 525, so that's been a topic of conversation that we've had. It has now once again been postponed. And just to read, it says, originally the law mandated that employees begin raising wages by June 1st. Newsom then delayed it to July 1st. Now a new budget deal reached that by the administration and Democratic legislators is expected to push back the raises at least until October 15th. That's contingent on stating bringing in at least 3% or more revenue than the administration expects in the first quarter of the upcoming fiscal year, or the state collecting data to secure federal funding that will help them offset some of the costs related to the law. So that's your latest information.
No, yeah, it was in the news, I saw that in the
Yeah.
news, they postponed it.
Yeah, and remember, that's one of the reasons for our budget also, because that total cost is around $325,000 for 52 employees. PPS, I've already talked to you guys about that as well. Quarterly CBI report. So I have some really good information on the CBI, which makes me really excited. We alluded to this, I alluded to this at the last meeting, so CBI has changed its policy on its measures, and that's why we weren't getting what we were used to. Max had mentioned, hey, we aren't getting as much as we're used to, and that it was correct, because they changed their ratings. They've now changed it back. So their initial health assessment has been changed to the initial health appointment. Screening for depression and follow-up plan has been changed to depression screening. In a nutshell, we got our first quarter results, and we, as a practice, scored 74.8 points. Our peers only scored 47.3 points
Oh, wow.
out of 97.8. And if we stay on target, it is estimated that our practice will earn at the end of December $251,519.47.
Wow.
Because they changed it, and I think what they figured out that, they were penalizing the groups too much. And really, they have all these funds that they want to give, but they weren't giving them because they were penalizing them. So they just reverted back. So good news, that's our first quarter results. And we have a full-time person who's doing that, Naomi, who works and does that. So a lot of good things are happening and will happen with that as well. So that's an update on CBI. Page 3. All right. Capital improvements. So we continue to make the capital improvements for the computers. We did do another 5 computers for the medical clinics. One, we did upgrade one of the providers as well in that. This week, the roof is getting completed. That's one of those projects that Brent talked about. It's getting completed, and it should be completed this week. That's happening now, and that will protect our roofs from further damage, and number 2, from leakage during our rainy season.
We say roofs, we're talking clinic and Eden building, or just the clinic?
Right now, it's just the clinic.
Okay, just one
Thank
picture.
you, yeah. The asphalt will be completed not until September, so that's why we have to include that in our next year's budget, which is that parking lot where all the food and all the deliveries happen. What else? Public Works. If you guys remember, Public Works required us to do that backflow project. So we've completed one of there's 2 projects we need to do. One was for the Women's Center. That was completed already. The next one was for the Eden Valley. That one is going to take more time because, as you guys remember, we have to run that through the state approving process, and so that's going to take a long time. So not so much to do the work, but it's more because we need to get it approved through the state process, which will cost us more money. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay. Eden Valley. So Eden Valley, can you call Susan in for me, please? In your packet, I try to include some feedback that we received from our residents. So this month we received a letter to Erica. It says, thank you so much for all your help in getting patients out of the hospital and to our care center with Heartland Hospice. We appreciate all that you do for our mutual patient. So Erica is our admissions coordinator here at Eden Valley, and so she received this letter. So I always want to make sure that I include these so that you guys can also see the good work that we're doing and what the team is doing. Secondly, I want to read a letter from Josie, our Director of Nursing. This is in regards to a piece of equipment that they needed here in order to provide good, high-quality care to a new patient. It's a service we didn't have before, but now that we do have. It says, thank you so much for listening to the facility's needs and allowing us to purchase the machine. We received it yesterday. I sent the nurses and Vanessa over to Haley today for education. It's already being used. I will be responsible for its as promised, and it will make such a great difference in the care we provide.
our director of nursing.
What is it that it does?
So this is what, I'm not the clinician.
Yeah, I understand.
And so this is what I understand. So they take the blood out for anybody who has blood thinners,
Okay,
and it tests the speed of clotting.
okay.
So that if, yeah, you're shaking your head, so you probably know more than this than I
No, I
do.
don't.
So if it's, I guess it's not clotting well enough, then they can reduce the medication. If it's and because I guess if they don't test it, then they can bleed internally.
How much did it cost?
Probably close to $1,000. Yeah,
That's doable, huh?
yeah. I was just sharing the INR machine that we just got.
Yes,
And I
we're
read,
so
I read
excited.
an email from Josie about that. Yeah,
Yes.
so they were asking what it was used for, and you can probably.
Oh, that's a clinical thing.
I know, that's what we.
It just, all I know is that it's
Clotting.
gonna help reduce a lot of the travel time to go to a hospital to get it done versus us doing it in-house.
You
So,
have to be certified to use this machine?
These have to be nurses, she told me, and RNs.
yes. So it's gonna be saving a lot of time, the money to get everything when we can do it all in-house. Yeah.
And then when you do that, is that a billable fee?
Because it's using an equipment. So it should be used and billed to the provider. Yeah.
Great. It'd be interesting to see how much that generates.
Yeah,
True.
we can certainly do that. We just get it tomorrow, I think.
We got it already.
Oh, we did?
Yes,
Oh,
we
yes, she
opened the
did say-
box and Josie goes, oh, Christmas is here.
She's been waiting.
Yes.
And lastly, before Susan goes into her report, years of service. So we do have Priscilla, our registered nurse, which completed 1 year of service with us. And then we have Ray Selgett, which Adriana's mentioned already, who, and it's in your packet, who celebrated 15 years of service with us. So a lot of good things. All right, go right ahead.
All right, good afternoon, board members. So our census for May is 48.10% in occupancy. Year to date,
Wait a minute, how much is the occupancy?
48% occupancy.
No, not
Not
Priscilla.
I
percent.
apologize. It's 48 in our census.
There you go, that's it. I was gonna say, that's not right.
Where's my copy today? Where's my copy today? Sorry. So it's
That's
48
more like-
occupancies. I apologize. Year to date, our average has been about 49 in occupancy. So we're staying right there within our range that we have been steady. So our Medicares have been 8.7%. Medi-Cal is 34, and HMOs is 2.94. Again, it's not the percent, I just have it here, but it's the numbers of how many we have in-house average. So again, Medicare, 8.7 average, 34 in Medi-Cal, and then 2.9 in our HMOs. For referrals, our largest referral comes from Salinas Valley Hospital, and then 2 from Natividad. We have 1 on our wait list, and for CDPH, really happy to share that we have closed 11 self-report cases and 0 deficiencies. So, I mean, the team's just been so on it with all of the documentations that's required. And that also includes 1 in-house or anonymous complaint. So even that complaint has 0 deficiency. Right now we have 2 pending, and that is for May, and then 1 that was just recent, and both of these were self-reports. So if we identify an incident, we report it right away. So those are still 2 open pending cases. For COVID outbreaks, 0 cases. And then for staffing, we have Paulino Navarro, our new director of rehab, and the whole director and the rehab team is all in-house. And it's so exciting to see all this activity happening in our rehab center and in the hallways and seeing residents just up and about. So we're so excited. And we've got lots of wonderful rehab programs coming in place in the future. I was just working with Ryan, our rehab therapist, in regards to using the machines that we have in the rehab center that hasn't been used. And then also, we're looking at a wonderful program called Steady by CDC, and it's all about fall prevention and really sending out more information because our community is really a high fall risk. So what we want to do is continue to do more mitigation and prevention and education so that they're successful even when they get home. So I'm really excited to work with our rehab team in regards to our fall program. For events, we had, it was a busy month. We had Nurses Week to celebrate. We had Nursing Home Week. And then we had Mother's Day, which was really wonderful to have the band to come in and play. So it was really great to see that.
Mariachi.
The mariachis. So it was really wonderful. I do want to share, just recently though, we had the CMS billing. Did we mention that at all, or do you want me to go ahead and put that in June's report?
Yeah, you can mention it.
Okay, well, it's still really in its initial phase right now of collecting data, but we just received a letter from CMS Medicare stating that there is a discrepancy in regards to one of our services that we were billing from May to July. We have all the documentations. However, there's still a coding that was off, and so we're working with Grace Lucero, our medical records, and MDS Vanessa to make sure everything has been in place exactly and billed appropriately. The good news is that we even found something that we didn't bill for, and so we're adding it to the correction of this letter and stating that, you know, this resident had some IVs and for hydration that we didn't bill for. So it could offset. And hopefully everything will turn out properly. We still have 30 days to do all of our data collection before we turn it to the CMS for review again.
So it's not uncommon, it happens at all levels. Any government, agency that they're paying you, Medi-Cal, Medicare, they will do their self-audits. And remember, keep this in mind, we are in a budget deficit. The state needs as much money as it can. So we're gonna start getting these audits. You guys are gonna get personal audits from, I heard it this morning from the IRS. Everybody is, because there's just such a desperate need for cash. So you're gonna probably hear this more often in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Until the deficit is.
In the history as an administrator, every building that I've been in, they will, especially HMOs, they're very, very tight in regards to trying to delay their payments to us when we have done all of the services, reimbursements, and they'll find every little thing that they can. But if our documentation is straightforward, they should have no concerns, or we should have no concerns about getting our reimbursements. So that is my report for the month of May. Are there any questions?
I got a question.
Sure.
I think I had brought it up before, and I know when you have the entertainment for the residents, as far as the music, it's well received. And I know that there was a band that came in and played. You had the mariachis for Mother's Day. I think there's one individual that comes and plays once a month. I don't know if she, which I think is great. Is there any opportunity to increase that so that there's more entertainment as far as music goes for the residents? Rather than, I'd really like to see that on a, even utilizing like the choir group at the high school or the band at the high school, local talent. And I'm just, seeing if there's any of those individuals that would like to come and entertain the residents for an hour. And you got any of that on the?
I love that idea.
And
I love that
there's
idea.
a lot of local
There
talent.
is. Yes.
And, one family member came and played, and it was well received not only by the residents, but by the staff.
Yes.
And I think it would really benefit, you have the mariachis, which I'm sure was well received.
Oh, that's great.
And like the high school, they have a band, didn't they have a mariachi band? And then they've got a.
Middle school has a mariachi band, I don't know about the high school.
Yeah, and then there's a gal that I think even at the grammar school level, that had a band. And, I can't think of her name. But
Oh, Mrs. Siebert.
That's.
That's the middle school.
Oh, middle school. But you know, I think it would be really advantageous and, you know, see what you can come up with.
Oh, I think music is wonderful, even for those with cognitive impairment, to have those processes
It
and
brings them
programs in
back to
place.
the day, and
Yeah.
if I was told, right, there's one individual and she comes once a month and plays
Yes.
her guitar.
Yes, she's amazing.
And she comes a distance.
Oh, really? Yeah.
She comes, I think, from Carmel Valley.
Wow.
And, you know, and that's well received, and she might even have some connections with fellow musicians that would like to come play. And that would be good advertising. That would be good, you know, this is what's being provided to the resident.
Yeah, I am going to be working with Pam because I think
Oh, there
there's
you go.
Pam loves activities too, our social service director. And she and I have been kind of brainstorming different things like theater, bringing acting and theater in here. Because a lot of our residents have a history of different things in their past that they really recall. So using those music, the theater, the arts, and she's thinking about doing a whole art gallery out in our garden one evening. So all of those things encompass really does enrich the social, psychosocial of our residents, so absolutely.
And, you know, you could start with family members because there's a lot of talent, you know. There was a fellow
I
that...
can't play the banjo.
Yeah, and I'm playing it. But I remember there was a fellow who had a DJ. He was a DJ.
Oh,
And he
really?
would come in and DJ his music for an hour. or
One-man
two,
band.
You know, and then there was a lady that played the accordion from Greenfield. And she'd come in and play the accordion.
Well, I absolutely 100% support that, yeah.
Let
So
me know
I'll
what
talk
goes
to
on for the
Pam and
next
see what we
month.
can come up with.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, especially students, they volunteer in their music, like they volunteer their music and play, so that would be a great way for them to get their volunteer hours and then also help and enrich our community. Okay.
Any more questions?
No.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
have a nice
Thank
evening,
you.
everyone.
Thank
you.
Okay, CCH, I mentioned this at the last meeting. Soledad Medical Clinic successfully completed the Department of Health Services, the DHCS site review survey, and was deemed a DHCS certified primary care site under the provisions of DHCS. And so they gave a certificate, which they received 97%. We also had a medical records review, which they received 89%. In addition, we held two Saturday sports physical days. One was in the month of June, which they did 42 physicals, and then the other one was in the month of May, and roughly around the same amount of physicals. I think they did a little bit more. I think they did close to 50 physicals on that day. And so we do these every year, and we always hold two physicals. So it's a combination of Dr. Hiron, and I think the PA came in one of the weekends as well. Lastly is partnerships. So Greg and I mentioned already, we attended LAFCO. I remain as a chairperson of Siembra Latinos Fund for the Community Foundation of Monterey County. We're right now selecting the recipient of the Alfred Diaz Infante Award. If you guys remember him, he was a gentleman who ran Chispa. He was CEO, and he passed unexpectedly. Also, tomorrow, if you are around, the Small Business Development Center has its grand opening here in Soledad at 502 East Front Street. I think that's the community center, so there's a grand opening happening tomorrow. Thank you always for your support and leadership, and I am done with my report, unless any questions.
Any questions? Okay, then we're going to
Closed
adjourn into
session.
closed session.